Welcome back to Angels and Bob's Factorio, and incoming train here. You can see I've updated this setup a little bit, suggested by a commenter called D Null, who was saying, yeah, you can just do a double row of inserters, and I can obviously change these to stack inserters, which won't need double row at all. They'll literally rip everything out of the train really quickly. I just haven't got something set up for stack inserters yet, so regular inserters will do the job. And of course, these just have things set to reach out two on the right-hand side row, and reach out one, but drop off on two on the row next to the train track. So then we got really big boxes or warehouses, and I then changed this setup a little bit just to have two sets of our crushers, Mark IIs, and I'm up to 3 of these. Depending on how things go here, I will balance this out a little bit more. But yeah, I just wanted to have some reserve capacity. I may have to move this out with construction bots, etc. Right now, the backflow, or the bit that's actually running out, is this stuff, these catalysts. So I need to. I've got loads on here. So I guess I could just set up a box just temporarily, just to make sure these are all unloaded. There we go, and they can all go in there. So yeah, I may have to go further back and figure out how to get more of this, which means more mineral sludge. But again, I can do a lot off camera because you've already seen that process. Just wanted to show you the better train station sort of setup, or faster unloading train station setup. And this produces, when it isn't running low on these catalysts, this produces nearly a full compressed belt of iron ore. In turn, that's been taken down into our furnaces, and down here. And you can see it's already built back all of the iron ore. I've got this inserted down here. So on the inserter, the splitter, that's the word, down here, set to prioritize the iron setup. So that's already backed all the way up. And I think that may have backed up all the way into the casting machines. It has. So yeah, we're full on iron. And at the top there, you can see that steel is coming across, and that's also backed up. So that, in fact, it's probably a little bit dark on YouTube. So yeah, let me just keep on zooming in so we get some more light. All this steel is backed up, which is good. And we've got a full iron line here all the way down, which means we should be okay to keep expanding, at least for now. Of course, this will probably use up all the resources. However, we've now got a bunch of roboports. I've been requesting 4 in my logistics slot, and we've got 4 at the moment. It is quite slow before they'll actually produce because we're just waiting for these engine units. They're used for quite a few things at the bottom here, so we have to be a little bit careful. At the moment they're on a belt, so the first thing on the belt will obviously get them, and then they will go across. When we convert this all to bots, we may be able to try and share that out a little bit more, but we'll see on that front. We could also build parallel construction for these motors if we wanted to, and that would work. In fact, what do they actually need? If we had something dedicated for them, they need the copper coil and the motors. So it's only these 4 machines that would actually need to be reproduced. But I'll do that again off camera. Just wanted to show that we now have 4 roboports spare. And if I just hover over the roboport, you'll see the network is growing. The orange area is the one we're looking at. And it goes quite far up. So I thought this episode we'd take the opportunity to do a new build for another science pack, if we can. And let's use bots to actually do the fulfillment of it rather than belts, or as much as we can do anyway. And that will get us started, I think, with using a bot network. So to do that, we're going to look at making a certain science pack. That's the production science pack. We need to make an electric furnace and an electric mining drill, of which I think the mining drill will probably be the easier one to make, but let's take a quick look. I've already looked at the furnace. Let me just look at the mining drill. Okay, iron key wheels, electric motors. Okay, so I guess we're going to need to build one of those setups anyway, and a burner mining drill, which just requires regular motors, iron plates, and stone bricks. Okay, so there's a bunch of different components that we want. So let's get started with that. We're going to need to make some of our passive provider chests and request the chests as well, although I'm going to run out of base electronic boards, but that's okay because they're right here. Okay, I'll make some of those. And let's set this up over here temporarily, because I'll be able to then blueprint it and move it elsewhere using construction bots. Things are going to be pretty good. And obviously I've only got a few roboports, but if you want to look at how many bots you've got, just hover over the roboport and look at the right hand side of the screen. So far, only 122 construction and 174 logistic. All I've got happening here is that up here, the output of these machines just go to a passive provider chest, and there is another a requester chest over here that's requesting those bots. So anytime anything gets produced, it just gets automatically moved over, like that one just there. And that one is still waiting for the frame. Oh no, there it goes. It's getting taken across. So yeah, everything's automatically feeding in. So let's get started with this then, shall we? Let's make a few more assembly machines. And while that's going on, let's quickly review that. So we're going to need the mining drill, and we're going to need the electric furnace. So let's take a look at the electric furnace. That's going to need steel plate and electronic circuit boards. Now we have steel plates here easily and electronic circuit boards, so they're not going to need to go very far. And what we could do is, if we wanted to keep everything running and the distance short for the bots, because they do take time to move stuff, what we could look at is putting a passive provider, let's say here, and one here. Just, we don't need a high amount of these, and we just want a couple of filter inserters. And let's just get rid of you for a second. Configure this one to drop 2 away, and we're going to tell it we want the electronic circuit board. So circuit, there we go. So that's going to start filling this, and you know, maybe we just limit that to 2 stacks. And the same thing here, I'll probably limit this to a couple of stacks as well. If you need more as a buffer, just increase the number. There's no real problem there. And we just want steel here. So steel plate. That's platinum, where's steel? Steel plate. Okay, so that's going to fill this up with a couple of stacks as well. And if I wanted to fill that up faster, I could, but the bots are then going to try and take steel plate from here and bring it to me. So you got to be a little bit careful there. I do have another steel plate box somewhere. That's a requester, so it's probably up here somewhere. I think it's there, yeah. So don't worry about it too much. The bots will fill it out, and then, of course, the backlog will pop back in. So, yeah, we've got 2 components of the furnace, easily. We need stone brick. We've already got that in in one of these, the passive providers. And we're going to need steel furnaces. Okay, so we haven't got those. Steel furnaces, in turn, need stone brick and steel plate. Great, we've got both of those. And we're going to need stone furnaces for that. So I don't have stone in one of those boxes in range of the network, I don't think. Now, there's a couple of places we get stone. One is from the old furnace setup, all the way out here, where the stone bricks are being made. Yeah, out there is stone, regular stone, just before, on the very left of the screen, just before these furnaces. But remember that these furnaces were only being fed by these crushers, and these crushers were dependent upon this mining patch. You notice a problem with this mining patch? Right here. It's a fairly obvious problem. Yes. So this entire loop is no longer really in use that much, or nearly at all. All of our iron ore is now coming from this patch here of the other ore type. So we're getting still some iron ore through this system, but not into the rest of our flotation cells. So we have to consider that and whether we want to do that in the future. However, we can, for the moment, just ignore that and just get stone from somewhere. And if I've got range on it, I've got some stone near the train station. That's being produced from the Jivalite processing. That's one way to get it, but I will need then roboports. And do I have it in range? I've got the roboport up here. It's nearly in range, but not quite. So I need 2 probably to connect this, and they wouldn't be square, so because that's right in the middle of that ore sorter. So I'm just temporarily willing to go non-square for this, just to make sure I have a site of stone that I can grab. Trying to get this to fit somewhere. Much too far away. Oh no, there's a tree. Okay, and there, anywhere there should do. Let's just put it here for now. Okay, and of course I'll get given a couple more rubber ports when we use that. So this should now be available. It's just going to need some power. So let's just grab that. Resolve the power situation. And then we're going to need to tell the network that we've got some stone available here, which again is just very straightforward. So we've got all the recipe that we need. We just need to make sure we build all our assembly machines. So I'm going to go and put those assembly machines down at the bottom, and there's another rubber port just arriving in my inventory, and then we'll build this up. So I'll see you back there in a second. Okay, so looking at what we have to build is this. We get 2 production science packs every 14 seconds, or 1 every 7 seconds. But for these 2, we have to supply 1 electric furnace and 1 electric mining drill. This happens to be much slower than we can actually produce even the electric mining drills with even 1 assembly machine. So we don't have to worry too much about the undersupply of this. Of course, if we then stack these up, if we then have 14 of these, we're going to have to produce 1 a second. I'm not necessarily going to worry about that. I think I'm just going to not worry about the balance at all at the moment. It is very early game. We just want to concentrate on just having bots. And the reason why this is a bit tricky to balance is also that the electric furnace produces 1 every 5 seconds. The mining drill is 1 every 2 seconds, and then you have a 14 seconds. So that's not an easy set of things to balance. But, you know, we can deal with that later. So let's get started. So let's just build a few of these. Let's just put them here for now. Doesn't matter that they're not powered just yet. I just want to space these out. So if we have the furnaces, let's just take a look at them. And do I have the electric furnace in here? Yes, I do. Good. Don't have to build the red ones. Steel furnace. In here somewhere. And then the stone furnace. Okay, so then we're just going to need the input to that. So, you know, we can put this wherever, but let's just put it there at the bottom. And we're going to tell this we want to gather some stone, just like we would request it for our own inventory. And then here's the thing where you have to decide how much they supply. In fact, they've already got stone from somewhere else. There's some in that storage up there next to the rubber port. However, you know, they haven't got enough there, so they're probably going to go head off for the other stone in that box way up there, and they're going to bring it back. Now, the amount you request here is sort of important in that it depends on the flight time of your robots. Stone is quite far away, so I think what I'm going to do is actually ask for a couple of hundred to be kept in here-ish, and then we should never really run out for the requested chest. Hopefully. Okay, so for the next one, that's all it needs. And it's going to pass into here, where it's going to need stone brick and steel plate. And I think this one's going to need the same. Yeah. So we can still use belts. There's no problem using belts in with a bot setup. So we can put the belts here. And instead, we can just put... let's actually just extend it to there. Put in 1 either side. And then we want some more requested chests. And of course, we'll probably move this later. I want these stone bricks. And you can see how this becomes a lot easier once your bot network gets going in terms of what you actually ask for. And steel plates. Okay, and this one is going to require 200. That one's going to require 100. Let's keep 200 in both. Whoops. Let's keep 200 in both. Off they go, and I'll just put a power pole here temporarily. That one should be getting, in fact, you want 200. There we go. Yep, here they come. They're coming all the way down from wherever else it's stored. And we've got both of these, which can then feed in. So we just put them here and let's say here. All right, so 2 of the ingredients here has been put in. And then we can rotate this, put a couple here, Don't worry about anything. Let me just pop in some small electric poles. We can use the medium ones if we wanted to. We need to insert in the bottom. There we go. Okay, so they get passed through. These get passed through to here, which is producing these furnaces, which is passed into the top. So the only remaining thing is the electronic circuit board, and of course that is easy enough to add to this whole setup. And you can see now where the bots are starting to swarm to actually fulfill what we want. So here we can just say, in fact, I'm not going to put it there. I'm going to put it on top and rotate this way and say we want the electronic circuits. Okay. And we're going to have, 200 of those will do as well. Let's just keep them round. You can look at the ratios of all the ingredients that these take. So, for example, here, every 5 seconds, you're only going to need 10. You're going to need 10 steel plate, but only 5 electronic circuit boards. So you need to make sure your mat you're keeping is probably double the electronic circuit boards if they were both at the same distance away. Play around with the values. It's not too important to get started. But again, we want to keep the belts where they're sensible to. You don't want to have, well, you could, in fact, we have the inserters. So what you could do here is put these two, between these two with a gap of 3, and then have an inserter passing across and direct inserting from these to either side. But it's just as easy to use a belt. Perhaps a little bit less tidy, but I quite like using the combination of both. So on that front, then we can then say, well, here's in fact, we don't even need that much, do we? We can just put another belt here. And there's one of our two components for the purple packs. And I guess we should also look at this side. So we're going to want the mining drill here. Okay, and that's going to need the previous mining drill. And I'm not sure if we can set it up in the same way, with the same direct insertion, but we'll give it a go. And if we can't, then we can always put the belt between them. That's no problem at all. I'll just wait for those to build and we'll come back. Okay, with that built, let's actually put some lights in just to keep everything nice and bright. In fact, I've got some lights available already, so let's put in some here. Doesn't much matter where. There we go. All right, so here we have the burner mining drill. That's going to need some iron gear wheels and some motors. So we're probably going to be passing in from the right-hand side, at least for the motors. Maybe. Let's just get the motor. Okay, and you're going to need copper, and you're going to need the regular motor. And this one also is going to need regular motors. So it perhaps makes sense to have the regular motors here. And we put those in. Now, can it actually supply both of those? So if we have a look at, this is the mining drill, isn't it? So let's just get rid of that. Mining drill. Whoops. Mining drill. There we go. So we're going to need electric motors, which is going to need a motor every 0.8 seconds for this one. And for the burning mining drill, in fact, hang on, let's look at the motors. 0.6 seconds for one motor. And 0.8 seconds for the other motor. And how fast are the motors being produced? Okay, so we can produce the motors quite fast. And if we need to increase the speed any more, then we can have a look at that. But let's just start it off to begin with. And we'll use a bottleneck just to tell us what's going on as far as balancing is concerned. Okay, so is that everything? I think that's there. And let's just actually power that because that's going to annoy me otherwise. There we go. All right, so we just need to supply some iron into this side and some gear wheels, but we can, of course, make that from iron, which is no trouble to do because we should be able to pass just iron into this. Yeah, we need iron there, and we don't need iron here. We need copper cable, which we can make using this small machine, I think. Let's just see, copper cable. Yeah, we can. So we're going to need copper in this end. That'll supply into here. It's going to need motors from here, which just needs iron and nothing else. On this side, this needs stone. We could fidget around and sort of swap these over and then supply stone across or something like that. But to be honest, you may as well just put a box in and just say, just copy, paste. Hopefully. Copy, paste. Yeah, you're requesting the same things. Okay, so that sorted. It just needs iron as well. So these are all going to need iron. This is gears. Iron here, iron here, iron here. That's not great in a vanilla game, but in here it doesn't matter as much. We don't have iron nearby, so we probably want a larger buffer for this side of things. Let's pop you all in here, something along this kind of line. And we can grab iron from, from that one. We can grab iron from here and from here. And we can just tell this one to grab from over here. This one is fine, and this one is rotated the wrong way, I think. Yep, that should be fine. And we just need a box at the bottom here, just supplying some iron ore off to one side. No big deal either way. In come the bot supplying more stone. And we're going to need some iron plate here. So, iron plate. And you're around here somewhere. There you are. And we actually probably want a larger amount of that. So maybe even 1,000. I'm not sure if we have a box anywhere. Oh, we do have one box. Is it being supplied? It is. That's the same box that supplies me. So there's some iron ore, but iron plate coming across. And let's actually just put another power pole down, or two. And that may not be fast enough. So let's just see if an inserter will do. If not, we can go to a loader, and that will definitely do the job. In fact, I think I may prefer that idea, you know. What's the loader? Where's the loader? Will you work with a regular box, I wonder? Let's give it a go. I'm just going to put the... I'm going to need some more boxes, aren't I? Okay, we'll make a couple more. Where the boxes gone? Are they in my inventory? They are. They're on the bottom. Let's just put it there. Copy, paste, and then pick that up. And they'll all go to this one. Then we'll take the loader and flip it around. And I've put it too far away, so I'll have to set that back up again. Will you work for one of these? Let's see. If not, you can even do it with a warehouse, but let me just put in, I don't know, those. Yeah, it works just fine. So this will fill both sides of a belt, and these literally won't be able to pull it off unless this belt itself is too slow. So you've got a different problem to have there. So this just needs motors. The motors need gears. The gears need an inserter. Am I out of inserters? Let's just use this fast one temporarily. That now just needs iron plates. And let's just make sure that's the right way around. So I'm going to grab it from over here and put it there. I think that's going to have to be a fast one with the way this is set up. It's going to be too slow otherwise. So let me just grab a couple of those. Fast inserters. None on my inventory already. Ah, well. One should be finished now. Yep. And are you still set up the same way? You're not. Okay, so now we've got the motors. This has got motors. That's got the burner mining drill. So we now just need electric motors, and we're going to need gears up here as well. Yeah, we can still do that. That's okay. So because we should have spare capacity here, we can put some gears out here, and that should supply just fine. That's actually request a chest, wrong one. Provide a chest. And request a chest up here for gears. Yep, that's where we want them. There we go. Don't have to worry about exactly how many we have. That's not really a big deal. And then we just have to request copper over here on this one. And that again is a request a chest for copper. Copper plate. And I may not have a provider chest for copper plate just yet. But that will be simple to fix off camera. Let me just put you in. And yeah, we'll increase this one a little bit as well. And a couple of inserters. In fact, I'll just use a fast inserter for that one. Doesn't really matter too much. I'm just making sure everything is connected first. Yeah, so we're going to need some copper plate to start this off. Let me just put that in. This is going to start. Electric motors are going to start. They're going to provide them to this. And then we just need one more inserter. There we go. And now the electric mining drills are being produced. I'm literally out of all kinds of parts. So let me just put a box in for copper. I've got an iron one here, so we can just put a provider box for copper. And I think I want to make sure I'm using a... In fact, hang on, no, that's not really the best place for copper. Best place for copper is up here on this line. We've got a warehouse further up here. That warehouse has a bunch of stuff in it. In fact, no, it's not got a bunch of stuff. It's just got one thing. It's just got copper and nothing else. So we've got these boxes as well. But right here, this should be a huge amount of copper. Yeah, it's filling up like crazy. So we can just put a box in, not that kind, this kind, wherever we like. And I think I'm just going to make a fast inserter for this to make sure this box fills up faster than the box can take it away. That should be done in a second. And we should be done for this build, at least for the bit before the science construction itself. So let's just do this. Okay, now the system knows about copper. Should see some bots swarming past in a second. All running in the opposite direction. Some have gone that way. So off they go. Yeah, all over the place. They require copper now. Okay, so that should be done. And that should produce, once it's finished, why aren't you, oh, they're not, yeah, I don't have another inserter, do I? I just want a slow inserter, and we'll put it onto the belt. Okay, now by default, this produces one every 2 seconds if we keep up with it. The electric furnace, I think it's 4 or 5 seconds. One every 5 seconds. Okay, so as we were seeing before, it's 14 seconds for the to make one purple science pack. So we can keep up almost with 3 if we keep everything rolling. So we could put, let's say, for argument's sake, 1, and then a couple more above that. Do we have any materials for that? We do. And then let's tell it wants to make production science packs. Let's just put these on the belt. There they go. And the production science packs can be pulled here. On the other side, I can just rearrange that a tad. In fact, that should be enough. Yeah, they're connected from electric down there. And do I have the other machines yet? Yeah, that should be fine. Do I not need space between them? No, only for electric, so I can put another gap there so we can just do this. And make a couple more inserters. I need to grab some from that box up there somewhere. In fact, what I should do, and what would be sensible, is if I say I want inserters. And I want some of these, and I'd like 50 in my inventory, please. And then we can just upgrade the box once and for all. What we need to do now, really, with this is start to make a what's commonly called in Factorio circles a mall, or a place where all of these common things get grabbed from. You can just go and all the common products are produced and they're all in the same kind of area. Not essential, especially not with bots, but it can get things going. And they're going to keep on supplying me with stuff as well. That's okay. Let's just grab some of you, and some here. Put in some power. Okay, and then we have purple science done. We can send them up this way, and as you can see, right over here is where we have this. Now, blue science is out at the moment, because it's tiny and its products have run out, so I need to fix that. That's why this research has just died. But we can keep this layout, I think, because we can... Yeah, we can put a third... We have space for a third inserter. We just have to rearrange where these electric poles are. So I could send in a line here. Alternatively, if you have enough labs, the other thing you can do that's quite easy as well is just pass them in from this side, let's say here, and then keep just 2 inserters between each one. But let's say if that's going that way, this one is going to point the other direction. So they will share across as they actually go up and through them. So if any purple sites are needed, they'll be grabbed from this belt on this side and passed across to the left, which is pretty good, I think. Let's just make sure that's in the same place. Yep. And we can just feed this belt up, well, over. And this one down. And then just feed this purple science packs out of this side. Okay, so off they go, and of course we can join on another belt onto this side to feed in the last pack, the sort of yellow/amber one, and that will be that done. So yeah, let me just put more lights down. I need to always remember lights. It's easier for me to see than perhaps you guys when it goes dark. I am resisting putting the night vision mod on because it tends to have like a different color. It tends to go green if I remember correctly, but I haven't used it in some time. And that's sort of a weird thing to look at on video as well. So I don't want to irritate you by using a green overlay just to get rid of the nighttime. But I do want to actually put it in some... there's no space. I want to put in some lights over here. So maybe if we just do this a couple of times. There we go. That should work. And with that build of the production science pack in a bot-based setup, well, which we're going to continue in the following episodes, lots of nice stuff here in terms of how you can scale upwards. You can obviously see how you can just duplicate this to get a lot of the other materials, which we can naturally balance if we need to get these production science packs produced. And you'll probably naturally find, and I'm certainly finding at the moment, I'm running out of bots to supply stone, or at least there isn't any. There's no spare bots. I don't think there's anything idle, so we're not getting those at the moment. Over time, that should help, particularly is if we have this one, for example, it's requesting iron plate, but we don't have enough bots to really supply that amount of iron plate. It's all getting used up because this is somewhat unbound. So we might want to do something like that to keep this stacked up, which will then pile back up, which will free up more bots to go and get more stone. But that's just a balancing issue. Shouldn't be anything you need to show on camera there. Should all be fairly fine. So hopefully you enjoy this episode. It's got bot-based setups. And next episode, we'll move on to the mall because we've got more science packs to go. But if in order to do those other science packs, and the next one is pink, quite close to this purple, and that requires express belts, which is blue belt. We haven't even made red belt yet, but we're going to need to make red and blue belt, and that's common for the mall. And the mall is where you have, the yellow belt, red belt, blue belt, and then the same thing for the inserters, and the same thing for the underground belts and for the splitters, etc. So you have them all in one area. So I hope you join me for that in the next episode. Until then, thanks for watching.